How's it going, everybody? I'm the BTC Reaper, and my goal on this channel is to teach you how to reap the rewards of trading, whether the price is going up or down. Xbox goes crypto, leaked Microsoft roadmap includes wallet plans. The next generation Xbox console ecosystem could offer gamers a crypto wallet integration, according to unredacted documents published as part of the FTC's case against Microsoft in its planned acquisition of developer Activision. An internal Microsoft presentation slide from May 2022 that the next-gen Xbox console and surrounding ecosystem would offer users a range of different ways to spend money, including an in-game economies with a crypto wallet feature. The only additional context is that the wallet would be a Microsoft solution rather than an industry solution, suggesting that Microsoft itself would develop it, and integration remains unclear with Coinbase or MetaMask. There is a little bit more here too. The emails and presentations were supposed to be redacted, but they weren't, and the judge put Microsoft at fault for this. Microsoft's head, Spencer, said it was hard to see their team's work shared this way because so much has changed and there's so much to be excited about right now, and in the future we will share the real plans with when they are ready. So they likely have changed this roadmap that was shared, and they plan on doing some additions, so maybe that integration will happen after all. We'll have to wait till about 2028 and see when they have their actual roadmap. The next-gen Xbox console likely won't be released until 2028 according to Microsoft documents, but mid-gen console updates for the Xbox Series S and Xbox Series X are slated to launch next year. Pro-crypto lawmakers blast Gensler for loyalty to big banks. Our patience is wearing thin, McHenry told Gensler during his opening statement at the hearing. Your efforts to choke off the digital asset ecosystem is clear to all, McHenry continued, accusing Gensler of causing more confusion and lasting damage with his actions, while calling out his agency for a losing streak in the courts. McHenry pointed out that back in 2018, Gensler referred to Bitcoin, Ethereum, Bitcoin Cash, and Litecoin as non-securities, though his views on the latest, it does not meet the Howey test, which is the law of the land, about being an investment contract, Gensler said about Bitcoin during the hearing. I would say it's not a security. Rep. Tom Emmer was even more scathing, blasting Gensler for creating regulatory uncertainty that's benefited big businesses in the crypto industry over startups. He also noted Gensler's 18-year history working with TradFi banking giant Goldman Sachs, where most of his wealth was accumulated. Despite your years of rhetoric, I'm convinced you are not an impartial regulator, Emmer told the chairman. Instead, it's clear that you are working to consolidate your own power, even though it means crushing opportunities for everyday Americans and, frankly, the financial future of this country. There was another representative that said, that blasted him. I believe I skipped over that. There wasn't too much with that, but Maxine Walters kind of went against these two. She said, our patience is wearing thinner, Walters said in her opening statement, referring to her political opposition, referencing major crypto failures like Terra and FTX last year, and she highlighted how the SEC somehow saved us from it. I'm not sure how, because those were the worst crashes, and the SEC almost approved FTX skin licensing, and they were having backdoor deals, so not sure how they did a good job there. Maybe you can tell me in the comments. Marathon Digital mines invalid Bitcoin block and transaction ordering error. Bitcoin miner Marathon Digital mined an invalid block on the Bitcoin mainnet yesterday due to the transaction ordering issue. According to a pseudonymous Bitcoin developer, you can read that. It seems like Manapool had transaction ordering issues, and someone was trying to basically queue up a invalid transaction before someone's valid transaction. The invalid block was therefore rejected by the rest of the Bitcoin network as it was trying to spend funds from a transaction that hadn't been processed yet, which is against the rules of the network. The valid Bitcoin block was mined by Foundry USA Pool, so Bitcoin's code worked and prevented this malicious attack. Onto our charts, our Dixie is trying to push pretty decent. We are continuing up, so if this is going to be linked with our crypto market, we would expect crypto to continue up overall. We do have an in tandem push The Dixie doesn't really show the kind of manipulation jump you're going to see from Bitcoin today, but that's because we had a little bit of a rumor last night that Bitcoin ETFs are going to be pushed to be approved. So if that rumor is true, then we would likely see the market take a really big pump up, but we're kind of at a standstill because everyone keeps hearing this and we haven't seen much real action. So the pump will likely come after some actual action is taken by regulators. But as far as the TA is concerned, stochastic's starting to round off, RSI is heading up, our momentum is pushing forward, our money flow is starting to taper off. We are meeting resistance here around this 15-16 zone, where we've met resistance 2 other times and taken a little bit of a dip. So if we break this zone and then break through right around this 9.710 zone, then we could see lower price action here. That 9.710 zone is acting as our support, and the other zone right above here is acting as our support, or our resistance, sorry. So if we break that support after rejecting resistance, just like price action, we could start a downtrend and see a drop. VWAP is kind of tapering off. We're going up, but not with much strength. We do have bullish strength on both our money flow and VWAP, so that is pushing us forward, but things are kind of tapering off, and I think the strength is a little overbought at this point. But not financial advice, that's just my opinion. Bitcoin, this is our total, total is kind of rejecting. We got a scam pump up just like Bitcoin based off that news. We got rejected by our Fibonacci after probably everyone realizing that it's not going to happen anytime soon. After that meeting with Gensler, there wasn't really much like positive. He was just trying to stay firm in his beliefs, and he was kind of backed up. Our stochastic is pushing down. RSI is starting to trend out. Momentum is in the bearish territory, and our VWAP is in danger of rolling away under this neutral, which could start a bearish trend, so watch out for that. Our money flow is in a little bit of a bearish trend and pushing down, so overall our total is trying to push forward, but overall we are in a bit of a downtrend and we could see further price action down. If we get a decent green candle tomorrow, that could give us some bullish sentiment starting, but we're going to have to evaluate tomorrow to see what happens. Over on our Bitcoin dominance, we are trying to get a tweezered bottom here, so that could try to push us forward. We do have a manipulation X though on this tweezer bottom, so that wants to bring us down, so a little bit of conflict there. Stochastic is heading down pretty violently. We do want to get a little bit of a curl, but we are overall pretty beat down. If we don't get a strong curl and push forward over that 30, that stochastic's still in that bearish territory. Our RSI is losing strength. Our money flow is bouncing off that neutral, so that is good for us. But with that manipulation X, I would watch out. If we get a red candle after this, we could see that correct and drop through. Our VWAP is trying to head up with this green candle, but again, I would watch for a red candle that could invalidate that. Gonna take a glimpse of the lower time frames. Money flow is starting to round out here. VWAP starting to round out. Stochastic's still hanging kind of low. We are in the bullish territory, but the RSI is still weakening. So I would definitely keep an eye on things. Over on the daily for our Bitcoin futures, we do have a push up. If you notice, we created a new gap. So I would watch out for that gap to fill and ultimately be what starts the downside from here. Our stochastic is getting tight. It did want to make a bullish cross, but that looks like it could get rejected and we could see the stochastic just spill over. Our RSI is pretty flat. It is trying to head up as we're trying to cross, so I would keep an eye on the next candle. If the next candle is red and we fill this gap, we could see this just roll over. That momentum is in the bearish territory, as our VWAP is in the bearish territory as well. The VWAP is trying to push that neutral. It's kind of hanging up here, so that's why the momentum's starting to flatten out. The money flows overall in the bearish territory. It is pushing down. This candle's kind of scammy. This is tomorrow's candle, so keep that in mind. So if tomorrow we can close with this strong green action, we may see the candle after that drop us down. So a little bit different than how we're covering things with other coins as they close tonight. So keep that in mind when we're covering. Over on Bitcoin for the daily, we did get a scam wick up. We'll cover this on the lower time frames, but we tried to push our value area low and our resistance, and we ultimately got rejected by both. We are still flagging here overall, so we could see a bit of a rejection still. Our RSI is flat, stochastic is dumping down, our VWAP is trying to push that neutral, but just watch those lower time frames. If they start to get weaker, that could just roll over and reject away. Momentum is flattening out as our VWAP is trying to get toward that neutral, so if the VWAP can go through, that would give our momentum some strength and possibly push it to the bullish side. Our money flow overall is getting lower highs, but we're not getting lower lows, so we are kind of staying within a range right now. Over on the 4-hour, you can kind of see that scam push where we got that news and then we rejected shortly after. Stochastic is pushing down, RSI is pretty flat, our momentum is rolling away, and our VWAP is in the bearish territory. Our VWAP's kind of flat here, so if it manages to make a new low, we would start a bearish trend. However, if it breaks up and pushes into the bullish territory, we could continue a little bit of a bullish trend and ultimately push away from here. Our RSI is trying to head up, and the money flow is trying to trend up, so I would keep an eye on these lower time frames. Over on the 2-hour, we have a manipulation X that got invalidated as we're moving up and not down. Our RSI is trying to push up, but our stochastic's overall losing. Our stochastic does want to get a little bit of a bullish cross, so we'll have to watch the next couple candles. Our money flow is in the bullish territory. We did bounce off the neutral, but we're not really getting much strength past this 4.6 level. So if we can't get past this level, we could see us just fall to the downside. This would technically be our third touch, as we got freak breakout and didn't really touch the top of this flag. So we could see this flag start to play out soon. This would be where you would expect us to come back down, test support, and break through, at which point we could do the same to our other flag. Our VWAP is trying to push up, so if that does get bullish strength and cross to the bullish side, while the money flow is maintaining bullish strength, we could see a pretty decent move to the upside, and we could try to retest this flag again as well, but I don't think that's too probable right now, unless this money flow on the 1-hour picks up out of nowhere. We are starting to push away, our RSI is starting to curl away, our stochastic wants to push up, we are still in the bearish territory, so even though we're getting a little bit of a push with the stochastic, don't go all in. Our momentum is trying to push forward as our VWAP's in the bullish territory, but the VWAP's kind of stalling here, so I would keep an eye on things. Our money flow is starting to round away as well, so if that VWAP and money flow fall to the bearish side together, we could see a pretty strong leg to the downside from here. We did already lose like about a quarter of our daily gains since we started the video on Bitcoin, so keep that in mind. That isn't indicative of what will happen though, but over on graph for the daily, we are pushing down. We have a manipulation X that wants to push us lower, which would break us back into our descending channel. Our RSI is pushing down as our stochastic is diverging away pretty strong, and the momentum is pushing down with lower lows on our VWAP. So our VWAP's in a bearish trend and bringing things down with it. Our money flow is in the bearish territory and dropping pretty decent as well, so overall, we do have more bearish indicators and no bullish indicators. Over on the 4-hour, we do have a potential to make a bounce off this support like we have before. So if we continue that trend, this could be a bit of a down channel that would push us up. So keep that in mind as well. Our RSI is trending out and our stochastic is just losing very brutally. Our money flow is maintaining bearish strength, so we still have a bearish trend on the 4-hour. And our VWAP is trying to push forward. We are getting lower lows. If we kind of curl away and make a lower high, then we could see price action drop from here and break down. and invalidate that up channel possibility. The momentum is pushing out, but if the VWAP comes back up, that momentum is going to get a green dot and push forward. Over on the 2-hour, RSI is kind of slipping away here. Stochastic is overall pushing down. It does want to rebound and get a little bit of a relief bounce, so we'll have to see if that can fill this gap right here. We have a gap at about 8.5 cents. So if we come up, hit that gap, and then get rejected, we could continue this trending down and see lower price action. Money flows overall in a bearish trend, VWAPs overall in a bearish trend with lower lows. We are getting higher highs though, so that's a little goofy. But if our VWAP rejects away here, we could see price action take to the downside, and then we could see this gap fill later. Momentum does want to curl, but if that VWAP starts to curl out, that wouldn't likely give us a green dot that would carry much weight. So I would keep an eye on these lower time frames and see if they maintain bearish action. RSI on the 1 hour is starting to head down. Our stochastic has a bullish cross and it wants to bounce off this oversold area, so it wants to continue forward. Our VWAP is trying to test this neutral and push to the bullish side, so if it can cross with strength, that could help push us forward and get a bounce here like I suggested. However, if our VWAP rolls over and this money flow continues this bearish trend, we're likely going to spill over and then fall back into that pattern like I said was our other possibility. The momentum wants to come up with a green dot, but that's going to be dependent on if our VWAP can maintain bullish action. Over on Anchor for the daily, don't know how we got that zoomed out. Going way away right now. There we go. We are testing our support. We did get a little bit of a bounce off support, so that is hopeful for us. Our stochastic is pushing down. RSI is overall sliding. Our momentum is rounding away with a red dot, as our VWAP is breaking bearish pretty decently. That money flow is pushing down into the bearish territory. If you haven't already, smash that like, hit the subscribe, and join us with that Discord link up above or in the middle of the description down below. Our momentum is starting to sell off, that VWAP selling off, and momentum selling off, so overall, the daily looks like we could continue downwards. If the lower time frames start to gain some support here, we could bounce and continue forward. The 4 hour is trying to gain some support here, so that is hopeful for us. Our money flow is pushing forward in the bullish territory with our VWAP. We'll have to see if the lower time frames can manage to sustain this. Our RSI is going to bounce forward, but our stochastic's starting to round away, so watch out for that to fall. The momentum has a green dot that wants to push us to the bullish side, so overall we have some indicators that say we could continue forward, so I would watch the lower time frames and see if they maintain a bullish strength. Over on the 2 hour here, you can see we're kind of filling a candle wick right now, so if we get a red candle after this, we could reject this zone and ultimately just push down as we are in a bit of a down channel. Down channels are bullish patterns, but we could see it getting validated too. Our stochastic is trying to push up, our RSI wants to push up, and our VWAP is in the bullish territory, giving our momentum a green dot. Our money flows overall getting lower highs and somewhat lower lows, so we do have a bearish trend on the money flow, so I would keep an eye on this. If that continues, even though the VWAP's bullish, we could see the VWAP round away, get a lower high, and start a bearish trend here. Over on the 1 hour, you can see we're kind of trying to retest this big fallen candle, so we could just be making a retracement where we just break down. If we zoom back in, we do have a gap to the downside at about 19.5, so about 5 cents down. That could start a break to the downside. We are somewhat starting to slip already. Our blue line is starting to diverge away from our orange line, so we are pushing forward with that, but we are pretty high, so that could start to round away. I would keep a close eye on these. Money flow does have a bullish divergence that wants to push us forward, as our VWAP is in a bit of a bullish trend. So if this bullish trend on our VWAP can maintain, or the VWAP maintains bullish strength and the money flow comes up, we could continue price action forward. However, and that would possibly retest this gap around that 1938. However, if this money flow rejects away and the VWAP starts to fall to the bearish side, we would be in jeopardy of filling this lower gap and breaking our support. So keep that in mind. Over on XRP for the daily, we do have a manipulation X. We are rejecting our resistance and our point control from our volume profile. This is our micro volume profile, I believe. Let's zoom out real quick so you can see our other volume profile for the macro range, which is our bigger down channel that we are within. We do have this value area low and the value area high for these two channels. Our value area high right here is from the bigger channel. That is the top of that channel. This is the bottom of our current channel that you see every day. We are currently rejecting the point control of the channel you see every day, which could push us to the value area high. If we break that value area high, this value area low of our other channel is our next support. After that, we have a pretty open gap down. Stochastic is pushing to the bearish side, our RSI is starting to fall, momentum is starting to push away, but our VWAP is starting to come up. The money flow is starting a bit of a bearish trend, so I would keep an eye on things. Over on the 4 hour, we have a double manipulation X, so that could drop us down. Stochastic is diverging away and wants to round away. Our RSI is pushing down, VWAP is rounding out and could break to the bearish side, so watch out if it forms a lower low, as that could start a bit of a bearish trend. Our momentum is getting a red dot as our VWAP's trying to break through, so I would keep an eye on this. Money flow was trying to break to the bullish side, but we could just go flat, kind of like we did back here, and get a lower low. If we do that and then get a lower high, we would start a bearish trend that could push us down pretty hard. Again, we have some tight supports under us, but after those, we don't have very much. Stochastic is pushing away, RSI is starting to push away. This is on our 2 hour. Our money flow is trying to push that neutral and wants to go bullish, so keep an eye on if it can get some strong bullish strength. Otherwise, if it just gets some weak crosses like it has in the past, we could fall away and see continual downside. Our VWAP is in the bearish territory, so I would watch for that to curl to the bullish side if we're going to get a strong bullish move up. We have this manipulation X here that wants to bring us down. We are kind of Bart Simpsoning, so I would keep an eye on this. Over on the 1 hour, Stochastic starting to push down. We are overall getting lower highs, even though price is maintaining relative highs, so that's a bit of a bearish divergence there. Our momentum is doing the same and pushing lower. Our VWAP is trying to curl up, so we could try to test this neutral. If we cross bullish and get a lower high, that would start a bearish trend if we reject away and fall back down to the bearish side. However, if we come up, get rejected, and then fall away, that would also start a bearish trend. But if we break through, make a new high, that could help carry us forward. Stochastic's pushing down pretty hard, momentum's pushing away pretty hard, and our money flow is in the bullish territory. So if the money flow maintains in the bullish territory while this VWAP crosses, that could also help push us forward. But if this money flow pushes to that bearish territory and the VWAP crosses bullish, we may not get much lift off, kind of like back in here. It kind of depends. Usually if they're going opposite of each other, they don't really help each other quite as much. But when they cross together, that's usually when you see your stronger swings, like back here. We had a bit of a cross together, and price did lift off pretty strong. Now we were kind of diverging away as VWAP was coming down, and our money flow was coming up. But that VWAP made a bounce while money flow came up. So that's what I'm kind of trying to tell you, is if that kind of scenario happens, we could see a push to the upside and retest this other zone we were in. Over on Algo on the daily, we have a manipulation X that wants to bring us down. Stochastic's starting to push away pretty hard. Our RSI is pretty flat and momentum is falling. Our VWAP is continuing bearish strength and our money flow is falling to the bearish side, so we could see continued price action down. We are trying to bounce off the support, we did touch it, but we are getting rejected by some other zones we have as well. Over on this 4 hour, we are trying to push up, but we're maintaining a bit of a down channel. If we continue like this, we could push up as that's a bullish trend. Our RSI is trying to push forward, stochastic wants to push forward, and our VWAP is in the bullish territory. The money flow is trying to cross bullish as well, so if the money flow can cross bullish and the VWAP maintains bullish strength, we could see a push forward. However, if the VWAP rejects this 4 area like it has before, and the money flow rejects the neutral like it has before, we could see it just continue down like this trend is doing. Our momentum does have a double green dot that wants to push us forward, but that's going to be dependent on if this VWAP actually gets some strength this time. You can see that happened before, and we slid. Over on the 2 hour, our stochastic's trying to get a bullish push up with a bullish cross and a bit of a bullish divergence. Our RSI wants to continue forward as well. We could get some sort of sideways double bottom here, and our momentum wants to get a bullish divergence as our VWAP is pushing in the bullish territory. Our money flow is trying to round up, but it's kind of starting to taper away here, so I would keep an eye on things. If we open with a red candle next, that could start to push us down and away from the zone. Over on the 1 hour, we are getting that red candle that's trying to push us down and away from our zone. Our stochastic's starting to push down, RSI is starting to roll away, and our VWAP is starting to roll away as well. The money flow is starting to reject away. We did make a somewhat higher high, but we are starting to get sucked back down. Our momentum does want to push through this neutral, but with the VWAP curling, that could start to get a bit of a rejection here. Over on Doge for the daily, we are pretty flat. We could have some sort of bigger double bottom here that could push us forward. Stochastic is falling though, RSI is coming out. The VWAP wants to cross this neutral, so if it can cross to the bullish side, that would help that double bottom push us forward. However, money flow is falling, so if it rolls away here and continues to slide down with VWAP rejecting that neutral, we would see a push to the downside. Over on the 4 hour, we have pretty decent tweezer tops. It's not a textbook tweezer tops as they're not even, but we did get some continued down push after. We have a manipulation that X that brought us down. Stochastic is rolling away. Our RSI is trending out, and our VWAP is in the bearish territory with our money flow. So if our VWAP continues down and breaks the support it has right around this -7, and the money flow rolls over and breaks its support here, then we could see continued price action to the downside. However, if we see a curl and a roll up and then both push this neutral, we could see that push and the double bottom carry us up. The momentum wants to get a bit of a bullish divergence as we're getting higher lows and prices making consistent lows. We have a little red dot here bringing us down as our VWAP is in the bearish territory, so I would keep an eye on that. Over on the 2 hour, we do have a little bit of indecision going on. We have long dragonfly candles, big red candles, and now we're trying to push back up. So we are trying to get some semblance of a support in this area, right around the 6 cents. If we can make this our support, we would continue forward, but if we break the zone, I would watch out for our price targets that this pattern has. The stochastic is pushing down, RSI is pushing away, and the VWAP is trying to push up. But the VWAP's kind of tapering off and is in jeopardy of starting to roll away. Our money flow is in a bit of a bearish trend with lower highs, so if it rolls over and gets a lower low, we could see that drag us lower. Momentum is in the bearish territory and pushing down, but if the VWAP can cross, that would change. Over on the 1 hour, our RSI is pretty flat. Stochastic wants to get a bullish cross, so that could try to push us forward. We do have some green candles here, but this candle is getting a little indecisive. If we get a red candle, we could see a topping pattern, which could roll us over, or if we close with a red candle, that could do the same. Our money flow is trying to push forward, our VWAP is trying to push this neutral and wants to break to the bullish side, but if we continue with the red candles, that could get a rejection and ultimately push us lower. Our momentum does want to get a green dot to push us forward, but that is in jeopardy with the way this candle's going. So I would keep an eye on the next couple candles. Over on SHIB for the daily, we do have a red candle here. We are pushing down. This could be a triple top, so I would keep an eye on that. Stochastic is pushing lower, RSI is pretty flat, our VWAP is flat in the bearish territory, and our money flow is inching out. Momentum is pushing lower, so overall we are seeing a bit of a slide. If we break right here, this would be about our neckline for this triple top, and we could see a continued push down to test this wick. If we break that wick, that's where we possibly could see that price target of our pattern. I believe, did we have a down pattern? No, SHIB didn't really have a down pattern. So our next support zone would be possibly this big wick here, but we would likely get hung up around this 6657 zone. So that'd be a pretty decent drop for us still. Over on the 4 hour, we are seeing some indecision with indecisive red and green candles. Our stochastic is pushing away, RSI wants to go up, our VWAP is trying to trend up, but we are getting lower lows, so if it rolls over, we could confirm a bearish trend. Our money flow is starting to reject away from that neutral, so I would keep a close eye on things. Our momentum is getting bearish divergences, so that could help push us lower as well. Over on the 2 hour, you can see we're trying to get a decent push up, but if we don't manage to get above this zone right around here, then we could end up lagging here and pushing lower. Our stochastic wants to get a bullish cross, RSI is trying to come up, our VWAP is trying to cross that neutral, and the money flow is trying to get a bit of a bullish trend, so if we can get a higher high here, that would help push us forward. But if we see it roll over here, that would drag us lower. Finally, on the 1 hour, our RSI is starting to kind of round away here. Our stochastic wants to push forward, and our VWAP is trying to get a bit of a bullish trend, so that could help save us. Our money flow is flashing into the bullish territory as well, so if both these things can maintain bullish strength, that would carry us forward and possibly help us push the 7271 zone. However, if we see the money flow and VWAP roll over in the next few candles, we could just see a flush to the downside. Thank you for watching tonight's video. I hope you have a wonderful night.